There we go. All right. So as we jump in, like I said, so totally committed. That's Tyler Phillips, what he does. I'll kind of backtrack a little bit quick. So working with FCA, working in high schools in Minneapolis, I get a chance to kind of bounce around North Minneapolis a lot between North Community High School, Patrick Henry, and Edison. I was coaching football at Bethel, and a lot of you know I made the decision to step back from that in July. So this summer, between brand new baby on the way, baby Evelyn over there in the red, looking cute, and then my oldest daughter going through treatment, which I know a lot of you know about, and then as well my younger sister getting married, so I was in California. So there's a few factors that kind of got me to the place where I knew I didn't have the time I needed to give to Bethel. So I decided to take a step back. But what that did was it freed me up. It freed up a lot of my time where now I could be more at the high schools and even coach at the high schools. So then trying to figure out, man, okay, if I'm going to have opportunity to coach at one of the high schools I'm already at, doing ministry, already at working with students, where would I want to be? And Tyler was a huge influence for me to choose to coach at Patrick Henry. I knew I wanted to be with him and partner with him. I'd seen his heart for students, and that really caught my attention because of my heart for students, where he didn't care. We'd be here all night hanging out with high school kids and loving them up and talking about life. So he was a big part of me making that decision, and it's been a blessing to be able to work with him, as you can see here, with the Patrick Henry strength team and as well as the Patrick Henry football team. So we've spent a lot of days together, a lot of time together at practice and in the weight room. So I actually asked him previously, so this isn't on the spot, if he would share a little bit about just our relationship and also the impact he's seen as I've been able to be at Patrick Henry. So.
Don't hold the applause. All right, so I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Honestly, this is just a great testament to the type of man Jordan is himself. All you guys coming here and being here on a night like this. We all know the first few days when it snows in Minnesota is pretty tricky, especially when it gets cold. It's tough to even come outside. So thank you guys for being here. You know, it's like Jordan said, it's been amazing working together. And together is the great thing about it. And it was funny. It was about a year ago, and it was my first season coaching at Patrick Henry. And, you know, I was praying to God, and I was asking, I was like, man, because it was getting tough. It was a tough situation there. And I was like, man, God, please send me somebody who has as much heart in this and as much care and character and really does what they talk about in this. Because I hadn't seen it too much in my journey. You know, it's very few and far in between. And it doesn't matter, you know, whether it's people from the community, outside the community, there's just a lot of talking, you know. So, you know, I think 2 weeks might have went by, and there was a certain day we were at Patrick Henry, and this was early in November, I think it was, and it already had snowed, and this was last year, you guys might remember. It was snowy last year, super early. So Jordan came out, and literally the first thing Jordan ever said to me is, "How can I help you?" You know what I mean? That's exactly how he is. And I was like, whoa, who's this guy? This guy's great energy. From the first time that we met, we had great chemistry, and I could tell, you know, he really is about what he talks about, you know, and that's huge as it goes, you know, in the community for youth development, because the kids can tell. The kids can tell if you're walking or you're talking, or if you're just talking. And you know, he walks the walk, he talks the talk, and he lives by what he talks about, and that's huge. Great man of God, great man of faith. We've been able to take this program from being, you know, something that's just started up and something that was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting kind of stretched and pressed. And obviously that would show in the product with the kids, but you know, he's allowed us to reach and be able to give the kids the experience that they should be able to have. And his heart just shows when he's gone. The kids are, oh, where's Coach Dornbush? I don't know if he knows that, but all the kids are like, well, is Coach Dornbush coming today? And I'm like, oh, he's not coming today. Like, oh man. So that'll tell you, you know, how much or how important he is to this program. So thank you, Jordan.
Appreciate you.
And if I could, honestly, I would pay this guy $100,000 a year. Hopefully it can be someday. Maybe we can embark on a partnership, and I'll be able to pay him $100,000 one year, some year. But I'm just glad to be able to do everything I can now to help you in your journey and continue on this. That's what we're doing. So thank you, Jordan.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
And actually his girlfriend is Imani, who does the chops and serve. So just huge blessing, huge blessing. So appreciate you sharing. Like he said, so I got opportunity to be at Patrick Henry this fall, coach there, be with students. In some ways it felt a little bit like coming home because I was used to that at Al Raby in Chicago. For 4 years, I was coaching high school football. I was in an inner city environment. I was coaching kids up. I was used to some of the struggles that they face. And so in a weird way, it felt like coming home when I made that transition this fall. And now had an opportunity to be there a lot, build a lot of awesome relationships. Been a huge blessing to be able to have an impact in students' lives there. And like, again, feel like, man, this feels like the good old days at Al Raby when I just could sit with a kid and talk about life in the hallway, or I get a chance to go to the school every day and walk the halls, and I run into football guys and they're all excited. Oh, what are you doing here? Do you work here? Why are you here during the day? There's some confusion about what I do, but it's fun to be able to build relationships and get to hang out with the guys. But then similarly to Al Raby, what has happened is, I get to know a lot of students, get to know their heart, their story. And there's a lot of students who are walking through hard things. I mean, that's the reality in the city. I have a guy, Jaquante, who's walked through hard things, a guy, Amir, who's walked through hard things. And your heart grows for these students, and I just wish I could, hang out with them every day or, multiple times a week, or pour into him in a big way. The problem is there's too many students. I mean, even if me and Tyler split them half, it's like, okay, you take 15, I take 15. Okay, I'll take 3 a night. That's 5 nights a week. That's unrealistic. It's not manageable. I would never see my family. And so a huge blessing to our ministry, something that we had a big heart for when we first started 2.5 years ago, is bringing in Bethel volunteers. And so these are the guys who are volunteering in the city right now. And we're actually partnering with Northwestern as well this year. So we have about almost 20 Bethel football players, and then as well as 6 Northwestern football players who have been through all they filled all their paperwork, they did their background check, they went through training where we prepared them as best as we can to step into a different culture for a lot of them, and to step into a student's life and be able to share life together and share the God's word. So all of these guys come into the city every week. They get a chance to sit down with high school students to talk about life, to encourage. And it's a blessing in a lot of ways. I have a picture to kind of show an example of what a normal week might look like. So each of those guys, when they step into the city, whether it's North Community High School, whether it's Patrick Henry, or whether it's Edison, they get paired with students. And so as they get paired with students, every week, they get a chance to sit down, have a meal, and talk about life. And it's a huge blessing for a student who has a college football player who really cares about them, who really wants to know more about their life, and who loves the Lord, and who can share about what that is meant in their life. For the Bethel guys and the Northwestern guys, it's also a blessing where they get a chance to step into the city. They get a chance to see, what is the city really like? What is Patrick Henry like? What are city kids like? For a lot of these guys, as you can tell by their skin color, a lot of them aren't from the city. A lot of them, they don't have a very clear picture of what is the city like. A lot of them, they have perceptions or things they've heard or things they've seen on the news. But a lot of that is a small slice of the reality of what the city is and what city kids are like. And so now they get to sit down every weekend. They get to grow their perspective. They get to grow their understanding, which is hugely important, especially in the world we live in today. where there's a deeper understanding of what the city is really like and not what I just see on the news about what's going on. Because some of that, I mean, it's real. Those things are really going on, and that's why they end up on the news, but it's such a small part of what the city is. There's so many awesome, awesome things. There's so many awesome students who are doing amazing things. And those things obviously never end up on the news, but they get a chance to sit down with some of these awesome students, get to know them. And now when they do see something on the news, it's not, there's a connection there. There's a relatability. There's a, oh, I know Dre, and I get to sit down with Dre every week and I wonder how he's doing. And there's a care and a proximity piece where there's a kind of a closeness. So there's a greater kind of understanding of what's going on and a greater care for what's going on in the city. So this is a kind of a picture of what it looks like every week. Last week, just this last week at North, we had 11 of these groups meeting, and then at Henry we had 4, right? And so, and we're hoping to grow that as well. But so that's almost 40 students who are sitting in a small group setting, in a one-on-one type of setting where they get to get loved on. They're asking about their life. They're asking about their family. They're trying to pour into them, encourage them. Grades, how are your grades? Checking up every week. You know, I know with the guys I sit with, I'm always checking their grades every week, make sure they're where, you know, trying to push them to be as great as I know they can be. And I see that in all the students I work with, and there's greatness in each of them. There really is. And so it's cool to be able to invite others to be a part of that. And it's cool. I mean, the same heart that Tyler has, that I have, that I see, you know, that drew me to Henry is a lot of the same hearts that these guys have. And that's why they sign up. You know, that's why they're playing college sports, they're doing college classes, and then they're coming out to the city once a week for multiple hours and sometimes more than once a week. We have some volunteers who are really get into it and they're like, oh man, can we do outside of our small group time? Or oh, on Saturday even there was Henry guys out at Bethel grabbing a lift with some of the Bethel guys. And so they really pour a lot in, and it means a lot to them. And so it's powerful to kind of have them along with us on this journey, and it multiplies what we're able to do, you know, and it changes their hearts. I know there's one Bethel guy who he wanted to be a police officer. He's going to school for that. And then now after volunteering for a couple of years, maybe I want to be a police officer in the city, like getting a chance to work with these students, be around these students. I've really enjoyed it, loved it. And now if he does make that choice, he's going to be a much better police officer. He's going to be able to serve that community much better because he knows the students. And he knows some of the great things that are going on in the community. So his heart for the community will be different as he serves that community as a police officer. So they're a huge blessing. Every year we do a winter retreat where we take all of those small groups out to Camp Lebanon and get a chance to spend a weekend together. And so these guys have been getting together once a week, every week, you know, for an hour, hour and a half. And now they get a whole weekend to be together, to be with those kids, to build relationships. So this is from our first year that we did it at Camp Lebanon, and then last year's our second year. So this February will be our 3rd winter retreat here in Minneapolis at Camp Lebanon. So we're super excited to kind of have an opportunity to bless the kids. Camp Lebanon's opened up more. Last year with COVID, we had limited numbers we can bring, so we're excited about being able to bring a really big group this year. So something we're really excited about. You got Kyle up here with his game face on. And then this last summer, for the very first time, we did a summer retreat as well. So that's something that we're going to continue to do. Me and Kyle loved it. It was awesome. Kind of the heart behind the winter retreat is we want everyone to come. We're trying to invite every kid, every small group we're trying to get all our leaders there. The summer retreat is a smaller group, and we're trying to be more intentional. You know, who are guys who are ready for that next step spiritually, next step in their faith? They've really caught on during small group, and we feel like, man, they really want this to be a part of their life. So let's give them an opportunity to dig deeper into their faith and what it means for their life. So for this, as you can see, there was only 6 students. We invited them intentionally. We didn't put it out to everybody. We said, hey, you are somebody who we see thriving in this small group setting, and we think a weekend away to dig deeper into your faith would be beneficial. So we took them out to Tim's cabin. He offered it up. generously and foolishly to a bunch of high school students. But we had an opportunity to go up there, had an awesome weekend, and had a chance to spend more time digging into faith. Where the winter retreat will do some more. We'll preach the gospel. We'll do some more surface level faith. But some of those kids, it's like they don't have necessarily a background in church, so it's like a first introduction to this is what faith is. This is what it means to me. This is why it's changed my life. And the summer retreat, we got a chance to kind of dig deeper into, and what does this mean for your life, and how can you live for the Lord every day? So awesome time. We're excited to do it next summer, right, Kyle? Tim, we can use your cabin again? Yeah. He's locked in now. He said yes. That's how I asked you in front of everybody. See, I've been thinking about it. So that's just kind of a quick overview. I know some of you know a little bit about the ministry or what's going on or what we do. Obviously, the biggest changes that I kind of wanted to make sure we covered today was me taking that step back, being at Henry, taking that step back from Bethel, and then also including Northwestern as the volunteers, which is huge. We have 6 dudes from Northwestern right now and hoping to get more in the future. And so it's 2 really exciting changes. So yeah, I appreciate all of you. I know all of you are a huge blessing to me and to my family. We know that, and you know that it's a nonprofit ministry. So I get paid based on donations. If donations don't come in, I don't get paid. A huge part of what I do is you guys. I mean, you guys pouring in, supporting, praying for the ministry, giving to the ministry. And obviously you giving supports those small groups. So all those meals that those Bethel, they're college students, so we're not asking them to pay for their meals with their students. So at the end of the night on a Wednesday night, Kyle will get a bunch of receipts. On the end of the night on Thursday night, I'll get a bunch of receipts from Bethel guys, and we reimburse them all for that because we want to make sure that they are able to do it consistently and not missing out on time with their students because of financial reasons. So obviously your donations give towards those meals together with the guys. Your donations give towards that retreats we do, but also your donations, support me, support my family, allow us to pay our bills, allow us to put food on our table, allow us to do what we do every day. And we feel so blessed that we get to do that we get to go to high schools every day and hang out with a bunch of goofy kids. But we know that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for people like you. So we want to say thank you. And also just give a challenge as we go towards the end of the year and you're thinking about end of the year giving, or you're thinking about, obviously the time of year it is, people are thinking about giving, people are thinking about tax benefits and donations. I just pray and ask that you would think about our ministry and think about supporting us in what we're doing and loving students. So appreciate you all. Glad you could be here. If you're interested in giving right now or in the future, this link right here is you can do it online. It's really, really easy. So you can put that in, boom, you go right to my page. Or if you just Google Jordan Dormish FCA, my page is the first one that pops up. So you can click on it and then you can donate right there. So it's pretty simple. But yeah, really appreciate you guys. I know Catherine does as well, to just allow us to do what we do every day and love on students. So yeah, thanks. You have anything you want to say, Kat? No, nothing. All right. Well, if you guys have questions, love to answer them.
Jordan, what's the reaction you're getting from head coaches and other coaches?
Yeah, so as I step into a school, especially for the first time, and meet with a head coach, whether it was Edison or Henry or North, or even Edison got a new head coach, then meeting with him, I always come in like, what can we do for you? If I come in and say, oh, this is what FCA wants to do, or this is our goals, there's always hesitancy because okay, who are you? Are you sticking around, especially in the city, especially as a white guy coming from not the city. So I don't want to come in with an agenda. I want to come in and just say, how can we serve? How can we help? Is there something we can do to help support your program, support what you're already doing. And we've done that in a lot of ways. We've helped with pregame meals for a lot of teams around the city. You know, they get a good meal in their kid's stomach on a Friday before they go play on a Friday night game. We've helped with, you know, obviously the small groups and bringing in college football players to help with weight room, college football players to help with mentorship. We've helped in a lot of ways. With the retreat, that's obviously a blessing for the programs. And some coaches, they give me a list that, man, this is what we need. All right, what can we do? You know, and maybe we can do some of the things on the list, not all, but we want to serve. And then when coaches see, man, he's here for the right reasons, he's here to serve the students and be here for the kids, then they want you around. You know, they see you have the right heart and they want you to be there. And so it's always a process of building that trust and showing I am here for the right reasons. I do have the right heart. But once it's there, there's usually wide open arms to, you know, whatever we want to do or however we can serve their program. So.
Want to talk about the Phelan Foundation?
Yeah. Yeah. So we had a connection to the Adam Thielen Foundation. They have donated financially to FCA Urban specifically. And so they want to be a part. Adam and Kaylin want to get involved in the city. They did the lights at Brooklyn Center High School. That was one kind of their big step. Like, man, we want to get involved in the city of Minneapolis and serving our community. So that was one big thing they did. Then they got connected with us, with FCA. They gave financially and they want to continue that in the future. And then in conversations with them about some of the needs at Henry, I'm hoping they'd be able to fill, and they are hoping they'll be able to fill some of those needs at Henry as well. So nothing is set on that yet, but in conversation with them about some of the needs at Patrick Henry, and they seem excited about partnering and getting involved. So it's a huge blessing just to have, fill needs. There's a lot, especially in a program in the city. We need helmets, we need new helmets. We don't have just for safety reasons, and then obviously equipment when it comes to weight room or, equipment on the field, or there's just a lot of things that are small challenges that the kids have to overcome when they're already overcoming a lot. So
how do you initiate or get the kids involved in like the small groups? What kids can be involved? Studies how to to them and how they connect.
Yeah, so we want the Bethel guys to start just coming to weight room and like getting to know kids, building a relationship. You come help with the lift, you come spot so-and-so, you're spotting Jaquante on his lift, you're helping, with clean up at the end, and through that they get a chance to just get to know students. So then when we say, hey, would you be interested in coming out for a meal and getting to know each other, the kids are usually excited to jump on that, and it's a free meal, which helps, and then from there, usually the first, little bit is there's some kind of, getting to know each other. There's sometimes some like awkwardness, and you just get, you're from different worlds and you're starting a relationship. You're starting to get to know each other. The football piece of that helps a lot, which is something we do on purpose. Like we try and get college football players paired with high school football players, because that's an easy bridge to be able to have conversation and have that to relate on. But then it's crazy how fast it goes from they're just pumped to have those guys there. They're excited to have them in the weight room. They're excited. And then especially after retreat, man, after that, when you get back from that weekend, there's just an excitement for them to be around and for those relationships. We brought some North high school football players out to a Bethel game to hang out and watch. And it was funny, like they're barely even watching the game. They're trying to find their mentors on the sideline, like, oh, what number is he and where is he? Oh, there he is. They're like talking about this. They just scored. They don't even care. They're just like trying to find their mentor on the sideline because they're all excited about seeing him stand on the sideline. So, which is a beautiful thing because it shows how much that Bethel guy like really cares, man. He's been born in and he's gotten to a place where that doesn't happen on accident. They've spent weeks and weeks and weeks together building that relationship. So any other questions?
For the mentors, if you think that you would expand the number, look at other colleges as well, keep investing kind of the same number.
Yeah, so we have more than we've had in the past, like the first year, so we've kind of grown since then. And then obviously adding Northwestern has gotten more involvement. We, I mean, would be interested in adding more colleges. Part of the challenge in that is where they are located. Like the further they are away, the harder it is for them to drive to the city for some of these things. So, and I obviously had strong connections at Bethel from coaching there, so that was kind of an easy in. And then one of the guys I coached at Bethel now coaches at Northwestern, so that was kind of a nice connection. So, but yeah, I mean, we'd love to get more mentors. Obviously, that means more students, you know, having an opportunity to have a guy who cares about them in their life. So that's something that, you know, me and Kyle are continually working on and trying to get the word out more.
Jordan, short term and long term. So in particular, what are the two biggest prayer requests right now? The immediate and the long term.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think short term would be small groups and then leading up to the retreat, because the retreat's a huge, I mean, it's an amazing weekend and it's a huge opportunity for guys to just get out of the city. Like you get out of the city, get out of your house. A lot of guys have like stressful home environments. So you get a chance to like not have to worry about that for a whole weekend and just be a kid and laugh and go sledding. And so it's a huge opportunity of what that weekend is. So we want to get everybody there. Like, man, we really want everybody to be there and have opportunity to experience it. So yeah, small groups and just the guys getting to build relationships and then leading up to the retreat would definitely be a short term. I think long term, a big one is more staff. So right now in the city of Minneapolis, there's me and Kyle Fox right here. He's at North Community High School. And then we have a guy who just started like 2 months ago, Luke Gustafson. So he's at Edison as well. So we have 3 staff in the city, and you know, we'd love to add more people who just have the right heart and, you know, want to potentially coach and serve in the city of Minneapolis. So that'd be a long-term prayer request for sure. All righty.
I don't have a question. Can I make a comment?
For sure.
So I work with FCA.
Go up there so that you're online.
Oh, wow.
Get on Zoom.
On Zoom. So I work with FCA and I get to serve with both Kyle and Jordan. And I just want to put a plug in for what they do in their heart for the city and how they serve. It's amazing to watch what they do and the impact that they're having. Ty and I were talking a little bit earlier. You hear a lot of negative things that are going on, but there's so many good things that are happening in the city, and these guys are a big part of that. And just to watch that happen. Jordan mentioned we just hired a young man that came on and is now working at Edison, coaching there, and he landed. And within probably 3 or 4 weeks was coaching basketball there and was able to get plugged in and start working with kids. And that was really cool, but that would not have happened if it hadn't been for all the work that Jordan did previously to that, building relationships, spending time there, meeting coaches. There's a lot of trust that he has built over a 3-year period that allows a lot of ministry to take place. And God is just prepping that area for some great things to happen. And I'm just so thankful. I just want to thank you guys for supporting them and serving in that way. Maybe you're not all called to the city to serve. These guys are, but you have a role, a big role, and that's supporting them and coming alongside them and praying for them. And so I just want to thank you for that. Their heart for the city is unbelievable, and God is going to continue to use that as we dream about the future and what happens there. It'll be really cool to see the lives that are impacted and how God works in that way. So I just want to say thank you to you guys, you Jordan, for your leadership and your vision. And the whole thing with the college students, that was what God laid upon your heart to do, and we're seeing that happen. And we do. Somebody asked about colleges. We have a lot of colleges that want to be a part of it. We just need more boots on the ground, so to speak, building relationships and getting into the schools, and then we'll be able to partner and bring more students in. But Jordan put that in motion, and God's using that in a powerful way. So thank you for that, and thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Kyle, for what you guys. Thank you, families. You guys sacrifice a lot too for the ministry, but thank you for what you guys do too. So thanks, brother. Thank you.
Sounds good. You guys want to take some food home? We got a lot, so that'd be great. You would take a little bit.